You have spent 4 years getting your degree. You have worked hard to earn your certifications. You know the difference between a data lake and a data warehouse, as well as Hadoop and Spark. You press apply on that dream big data engineer job, and then it is the application black hole. Most of you think the problem is that you don't know enough Python, or your SQL, PySpark, or Hive isn't advanced enough. But what if I told you your code isn't the problem? The problem is that your CV is telling the wrong story. Today, we aren't just fixing your CV. We are completely re engineering how you sell yourself using a specific psychological pattern that recruiters cannot ignore. I'm going to give you a magic formula, literally a sentence structure that hacks the 6 second screening process. If you want to stop being ignored and start getting interviewed, stick around. Let's set the scene. A recruiter has a stack of 200 CVs for one junior big data role. They are not reading your CV, they are scanning it. Studies show you have exactly 6 seconds to stop them from scrolling. The psychological trap most candidates fall into is what I called Wikipedia trap. You list everything you know.
I know Java, I know Scala, I know AWS, I know how to bake bread.
However, here is the difficult reality. Companies don't hire you because you know Spark. They hire you because they have a business problem that Spark can solve. If your CV looks like a shopping list of skills, you are just a commodity. But if your CV looks like a list of solved challenges, you become an asset.
This wasn't just a task. This was a challenge I overcame.
So, how do we write this narrative without writing a novel? I'm going to introduce you to the impact formula. Get a pen, write this down. Action verb, metric, tech stack, and business context. This is the ultimate goal. It answers what you did, how much impact it had, what you used, and why it mattered. Let's look at 5 specific examples for big data jobs. Created ETL pipelines using Python and Airflow. But the strong phrase is automated 50 plus daily ETL jobs processing 2 terabytes of data using Python and Apache Airflow to reduce reporting latency by 40% for the finance team. Used AWS S3 and EC2 for data storage. But the strong phrase is optimized cloud infrastructure costs by 15K annually by implementing AWS S3 lifecycle policies and Spot instances, freeing up budget for new R&D projects. Work with Kafka for real-time data. But the strong phrase is engineered a real-time fraud detection system handling 10,000 events per second using Apache Kafka and Flink, preventing an estimated 50,000 in monthly fraud losses. Cleaned data for analysis. But the strong phrase is developed automated validation scripts achieving 99.9% data accuracy using PySpark and great expectations to ensure reliable inputs for machine learning models. Move data from on-prem to cloud. But the strong phrase is orchestrated the migration of 5 petabytes of historical logs from HDFS to Snowflake, enabling cross-departmental querying speeds 10x faster than the legacy system. See the difference? The first version says, I came to work. The second version says, I saved the company money and time. This is a section that separates the juniors from the seniors. Recruiters and technical leads know that big data is messy. Things break. If your CV only lists successful implementations, it looks fake. You need to show you understand the pain points of these technologies. Let's look at four specific technical scenarios. I want you to put these on your CV, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to say them in the interview. In Spark, if one partition has 90% of the data, your job hangs forever or crashes with an out of memory error. How to write it on your CV? Resolve critical out of memory failures by implementing salting techniques on skewed keys, reducing daily job failure rates from 30% to 0% for the core user aggregation pipeline. How to say it in the interview? An interviewer asks you, tell me about a time you faced a tough technical challenge. You say, we had a job that kept crashing on Friday nights. I analyzed the Spark UI and realized we had massive data skew on a specific user ID. Instead of just increasing memory, which costs money, I rewrote the join logic using a salting technique to redistribute the keys evenly. It stabilized the pipeline immediately. Hadoop hates small files. If you have millions of 1 kilobyte files, you will kill the name node memory and slow down the entire cluster. How to write it on your CV? Optimized cluster performance by engineering a nightly compaction job to merge 1 million small files into larger blocks, reducing HDFS name node memory pressure by 60%. How to say it in the interview? Interviewer asks you, how do you optimize HDFS storage? You say, I noticed our query performance was degrading. I checked the FS image and saw we had millions of tiny files from a streaming job. I implemented a compaction process to merge this into optimal 128 megabyte blocks. This not only saved name node RAM, but made our Hive queries run 3x faster. Real time isn't always real time. Sometimes the producer pushes data faster than your consumer can read it, creating massive latency. How to write it on your CV? Eliminated critical data ingestion, lag during peak hours by tuning Kafka consumer group partition, assignment, and batch sizes, ensuring sub-second availability for trading data. How to say it in the interview? Interviewer asks you, how do you handle back pressure in streaming systems? You say, we had a slow consumer issue during market opening hours. The offset lag would spike to millions. Instead of just throwing more hardware at it, I tuned the fetch min bytes to optimize the throughput and scaled the consumer instances to match the partition count exactly. It brought us back to real time processing without crashing the cluster. Okay, your CV was amazing. You got the call, you are in the interview. Here are the top 10 instant red flags to avoid during the big data interview. Never just say you don't know. Say, I haven't used that specific tool, but I have used alternative. And here is how I would learn it. If you talk about moving data but never mention security, PII, or GDPR, you look like a liability, not an asset. Big data is a team sport. Don't say I for everything. Acknowledge the DevOps team or the data scientists you supported. Don't list 50 tools when asked what is your preferred stack. Pick a lane. Excelling in one is better than being average in 10. Don't say Hadoop is trash. Many companies still use it. Say modern tools offer better latency, but Hadoop has its place for batch processing. If you don't ask how will this data be used by the business, you are just a coder, not an engineer. Don't suggest a complex solution when a simple one will enough. Simplicity is scalable. If you say you work with big data but cannot describe the volume, they won't believe you. If you assume the data is always clean, you haven't worked in the real world. Talk about handling dirty data. If you put it on your CV, be ready to be grilled on it. If you cannot explain it in the depth, delete it. Getting hired in big data isn't about being a genius who memorized the documentation. It is about proving you can take a mess of raw information and turn it into value. Use the formula: action, metric, tech, context. Respect the psychology of the recruiter. And when you get the interview, focus on solutions, not just tools. If this helped you, hit the like button so the algorithm finds other data engineers. See you in the next one.